Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure, and this is Motorsport Manager back with Bulldozer Power. In the last race, back at the Black Sea there, once again, where we've been quite a few times, Nicholas Hazel pulled off the unexpected and finished in 5th place, while Vanessa Silveira, who was on better form, only managed to finish in 17th. Although it has to be said that Nicholas's finish position was in part due to the car that he was equipped with, and in part due to some rather marvellous pit stop strategy from yours truly. So if we look at the financials for that last race, it's not pretty. We blew 800,000 despite having made a reasonable chunk of change from our sponsor. But, you know, this is what we get into the big games for. Anyway, here's the roundup from the World Motorsport Championship, who are also one race into the season. And it's Johnson Shoot 86, the usual names there sitting around at the top of the table, followed by Don, Sane and Fishburne. So this puts Carl Johnson ahead, but it's only the first race in the season. Over in the Asia Pacific Super Cup, also having had their first race, it's 4-star Fisher, Smith, Henderson at the top of the table. And they're running a slightly more severe points system than we are in the European Racing Series, where Nicholas Hazel is in the lofty heights of 5th place overall. Long may that last. But it is Scott Price for Vexala in number 1 with 00 for Garuda. Nice to see, actually, that for the top 6 places there are 6 different teams. Could make for an interesting season. So heading to the workshop, our new engine has been completed, and it's pretty good stuff. Coming in with a 173 rating, which is significantly better than the 2 engines that we're currently sporting. Obviously, its reliability isn't all of that yet, but we can certainly work on that, and we will. Well, I think we'll have a quick mix around here. And we'll put Vanessa. I'm going to keep Nicholas as our number 1 driver for the time being, just purely because he is the hope for the future, and therefore giving him the opportunity to rise and shine is undoubtedly going to be helpful. But we're going to need to do some work on the car there to improve the parts. No, where's everybody? Oh, it's because they're fixing the car, isn't it? Anyway, let's go check the mailbox. Right, so Firebird MRT looking good form for Black Sea practice. We read that already. Car condition? Yes, so Hazel's car dropped by 26%, whereas Vanessa's to minus 48%. So we need to do some fixing there to get that back in business. Meanwhile, Michel Dupont from the Motorsportif magazine. Do I have time to answer a few questions? For you, Michel, always. Sarah Thomas's agent has been telling reporters all over town that you're interested in signing his client next season. Is this true? To be honest, I actually had no idea who she was. Okay, well, what do we got here? Braking's not so hot. Cornering could be okay. Everything else, well, okay, maybe overtaking will be all right. But am I interested in signing her next season? Probably not. But she's open to discussing terms. Well, there's no harm in that then. Meanwhile, Gary's back with the pit crew review. Total of 5 pit stops in the last race. Fastest was 13.291. This is the benchmark we'll attempt to beat in the next race. Regarding to the crew, had a mistake-free weekend, so let's keep that going for the next race. Let's have a look and see how they're getting on. Mr. Young Johns here, Mr. Long Johns is looking a little weary. Quite a skilled individual, though. Frankly, if he can't recover his energy in 2 weeks, he's a very, very poor individual. However, do we have a substitute just in case he doesn't recover in time? Caton, what's he currently doing? He's a jackman. He's operating the jack. Is Barry? Well, it's going to be Caton or nothing. So let's swap him over. Yeah. That's not the button I wanted. Swap with Long Johns. There you go. Then we've got Neil Crumpton here, who is another tyre operative. hold on, no, these are the jack operators. I should have... Oh, dear, I don't really have another tyre operative. Oh, well, Mr. Caton is probably going to hose things for us at some point in the near future. Maybe I should hire more pit crew, but to be honest, I don't want to hire more pit crew. I've got enough already, and that's going to be... Look at this. 4 tyres and 2 fixing versus 14 fixing and 3 tyres. All right, Wakefield, you're on. Caton, sit down. You can come into play when there is a need for your services if we're completely flaming desperate. Back to the mailbox. Price blitzes the opposition, says Lisa Amorosi of Gazzetta di Motorsport. Gazzetta Motorsport, Scott Bryce, blah blah blah, Hans 00, such and such. Vexala Motorsport winning trophy and things. Meanwhile, Fred's come back and filled us in on the engine that we've just been checking over. All right, Gary's reporting that we've now fixed the car, so let's go and have a look and see what we can do improvement-wise. Now, getting this into reliability is going to be pretty critical. The original engine there, we can just dump that because it's rubbish. But we will stick the engine in for some reliability improvement. Meanwhile, our primary, well, our former primary engine is getting a bit of a tune-up. 194 days after the race. Well, that won't do. Where are we next? We're at Munich next. So, acceleration. So that's gearbox. Low-speed corners, can't do anything about that. Medium-speed corners is suspension. Suspension and gearbox are going to get the biggest hammering in the next race. Right, stick that in as well. And what else have we got here? Suspension and gearbox. Gearbox, that's that, isn't it? Yes, it is. Well done. Have yourself a cookie. Well, our secondary gearbox is going to get a bit of a look at as well. Meanwhile, we're going to go straight back and invest some more cash in another engine after I scroll this across and see if we can't get these done before the race. No, is the long and short answer there. However, the good news is that being as that's 3 parts and it's only 8 days after the race, there's a fair chance we make a bit of improvement. Okay, so we're going after the engine again. This time we shall have in slot 1. We're not going to go for anything risky. I'm playing a very low risk kind of approach to things here because I desperately want to avoid being penalised by the feds after completing the race. What have we got here? Build time a little bit longer. Well, I can live with that. Top speed. It reckons the performance will be 193. Then it will be done in 7 days before the race. Well, okay. Well, we can get that rolling then. Build it. Get it running. Yeah, go. Yep. And as soon as that's done, we're going to do it again. My sole aim, I mean, we've done reasonably well on the acceleration, so on the gearbox so far this season, but our top speed is woeful. So we're going to have to invest very heavily in getting that up the table a little bit. Otherwise, we're just not going to be competitive. By the time the other teams start to figure out where they're going wrong, we'll be getting left right at the back of the grid every time. So we've got a scorn? No, it's a scouting report on Bjorn. I mean, you could truncate that and call it scorn, I suppose. Bjorn Bjelland is terribly bad, but he will pay me 275 grand for each race they're involved in. Hello. How would you like to come talk to me? So, I mean, you could quite easily be my reserve driver, and frankly, you can stick with me for flipping ages. I'm going to pay you nothing. You're going to pay me, okay? That's all we're going to do there. Currently unemployed, but if you want to take over from Megan, she's bringing nothing to the party, and you can bring me some cash. So how about that? Well, we're going to completely take the Michael with that one, I think. Right, meanwhile, let's get some scouting on the go. Where are we up to in our list of blanks here? This is Amy McLeod, who's actually a pretty decent driver, and I don't know why I'm looking at her particularly. Where's my scouting? There we go. Amy McLeod. Why have we got such good... oh, she's just not driving for anyone at the moment. She's not driving for anyone at the moment. And she's pretty good. 18 overtaking and 20 fitness with quite a lot of focus in there as well. We've got our driving team already established, but that's worth knowing about. Meanwhile, let's fill the scouting roster full of scouting jobs and see what we turn up. So the World Motorsport Championship has finished its jaunt round Yokohama, and it's Fishburne again finishing top with Don Johnson, not Don Johnson, and Shoot, and 8-6 and Veloz. The usual suspects are right there, right at the top of the table where we would expect to see them. So this, in terms of the championship overall, that puts Fishburne and Don tied for first, with Johnson only 1 point behind. So Anna's in my inbox talking about where we're going next in Munich. It's 32 lap race, 2.72 miles. The lap record of 1:25. Likely to be some rain during the race, with Sunday showing a 40% chance of rain. 40%, well, there's not a lot you can do with that. Without too many chances for the gear cars to get up to top speed, this track really favours excellent acceleration. Guerrilla Racing have the best gearbox, and expect to perform well. Tyre compound, soft to medium, fairly good for track wear, and so forth. Freddie, meanwhile, has come back with his latest engine masterpiece. Only rated at 193. Fred, mate, that's not enough. We need a real fire breather of an engine here, Fred. But there it is, 193. The new engine we've got on the go. Let's drop that out. 79% on one set of suspension should be enough to keep us in the running. Let's drop the gearbox out. How can you do? 4 days after the race. We're just going to leave the suspension on because that's the part of critical justice this time around. Meanwhile, where are we up to with this? 2 points shy on that original engine, and that's fine because we've got a new one now. Get that in there. Marvelous. Meanwhile, we're going to go straight back and build another one because hold on, is it going to let me? It might not let me. No, it's going to let me. All right, good. We'll stick with what we're doing already. We like the fuel efficiency. That's certainly viable. And then we'll add to... yeah, I like it. No condition loss on first race. I couldn't care less about that. Condition loss is just a fact of life. We'll take the additional top speed. Now you're talking engine. 6 days after the race it will be done. It's another 1.7 million we're splashing out on this. But in the next one, plus 70, and it comes with risk, or plus 50 when it's wet. Risk level minus 1. Interesting. So we could take a chancier engine. So we could take this one at rank 1. Rank 2 will stick with what we've got, but then in the great section requires test track level 1. We won't be building anything of the sort. Nuts! I'm going to have to build something else for the flaming compound, aren't I? Right, okay, well, so be it. We've got cash in the bank, and as is regularly the case at this stage of the season, we might as well go spend it. I mean, it's not going to spend itself, is there? Performance, we are rotten. Okay, so what have we got here? Design centre, yeah, factory or staff centre, those are all upgrades. New buildings, we need a test track. It's 8 million quid, but it does unlock engine grade 3. An engine is where we are lacking right now. Meanwhile, the telemetry centre unlocks gearbox rank 3. That's cheaper, but our gearbox is not too bad at the moment. And let's get the expensive thing built. I'm not even gonna look too closely at what this does to our long-term finances for the season. We're just gonna get that rolling. So that'll be ready next year. Oh, it'll take so long. Nick Hazel is in my inbox. Hi, Colonel. Could we do some work on the car's top speed? A new engine might help. We're seriously lagging behind there. I feel like I'm getting left behind on the straights. That's what Nicholas Hazel sounds like. I know. It's as big a surprise as it is to you as it is to me. Meanwhile, Simon Higgins, I suppose I ought to reply to him. I don't need to check out the car, Nick. I'm already building new engines like there's no tomorrow, you buffoon. Who have we got here? Simon Higgins from XBC Sport. They're very jazzy. Motorsport's style icon, Bulldozer Power's Vanessa Silvera. Unlikely style icon, love the way she dresses, says La Roca's chief couturier. A lot of dinero. Pun name. So alluring, she sets my teeth on edge. That's not a good thing. I've been very inspired by Vanessa for my spring-summer collection, she continued. I don't know, what, your 17 dresses? You're the 17th best designer in the world, something like that. Your form's quite good, but your performance is rubbish. Anything like that. We're integrating a lot of overalls and helmets into the line. Motorsportique is so hot right now. So she's now fashionista, which helps my marketability. Big whoop. We've got, I mean, if we look at the sponsors here, what have we got left? Oh, okay. Within the next 3 races, we've got 4 sponsorship deals coming up. This happened at a good time then, didn't it? So the Asia Pacific Super Cup has returned from Beijing, and it is 4-star out front for the Esprit GP with Hawk and Fisher for Rossetto Corsa in 2nd and 3rd overall, with Hawk having taken 1st place on the day, Canuck in 2nd, Czar in 3rd, and then Fisher, Tyler, Smith rounding out the points. So Bjorn's back again. He wants to go back to the negotiation table. Dude, you either want a job or you don't. Wages aren't important to me, he says, scowling his face off. Well, look, mate, the only reason that I'm signing you is you're paying me to drive, right? Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't be having a conversation now, would we? Would we? No, Bjorn, we wouldn't. I'm going to up the tempo here because this all comes out of the whack that you're paying me, and we'll see if that's any better. And to be honest, I'm only going to get half of that because I have no intention of putting you into the race. You can drive practice and nothing else. Michelle's back again with the Munich Preview Roundup. Hans 00 hot favourite. Team principal Eddie Dubois. It's going to take something very special to stop 00. Vexala Motorsports Scott Price will be hoping to follow up his win last time in the Black Sea with a victory in Munich, but his car is likely to struggle. Insiders at the factory told us we really don't have a great car for Munich, to be brutally honest. Bulldozer Power, hey, they're talking about me, managed by Colonel Failure, are predicted to finish around 9th. 9th, which would be seen as a solid result for the United Kingdom-based team's chairman, Kurt Kruger. Anything other than 9th will probably raise the chairman's blood pressure, an anonymous mechanic told us. Sack the mechanics. We do not speak to the press. My goodness me. I guess some discipline up in here. So we're about to head off to Munich. Might as well have a look and see how we're getting on. The suspension's come along quite nicely. This new engine it's not reliable. I mean, with only 40 points of reliability, I would be a bit of a clown to put it on a car, making that a clown car. So we're not going to put it on a car. We're going to run with the other new engine that we've got, which is reasonably reliable, and Hazel's engine from the first race, which is actually very reliable. Meanwhile, brakes, we got nothing good happening in the brakes environment right now. I mean, they're both reasonably decent sets of brakes, but we've got reliability problems on those, but they're not critical for this race. And then suspension looks good, gearbox looks good. I'm feeling pretty positive. Let's make sure that we've got everything as it should be. 128, that doesn't feel right to me. Let's have a look. And yet it is right. Oh, that's rather disappointing. Gearbox is properly assigned, engines are correctly assigned, and the brakes are as well. Vanessa's still cheesed off. Nicky Boy is only content, but frankly he needs to buck his ideas up. I'm going to have faith in the young man for as long as he continues to surprise me. If he stops surprising me, I will cease to have faith. Anyway, here we are off to Munich. We're going to go with one chai. We're going to play it down the middle once again. I don't think 9th is likely this time around because we do not have an exceptional part that is going to make a big difference here. but we'll chance a 9th place here. It's going to cost me 900 grand. Goodness me. We've already tweaked the parts. I'm going to head off now to the track. I hope to see you there very soon.